Okay, my bad, folks. I didn't realize the microphone was off. Alright, let's set this up again so we can walk through. Come on. You can do it. And APU. Looks like it tripped. Okay, there we go. Alright. EVGA. So we didn't get too far in the routing information. We were flying Lufthansa. Lufthansa. Reserve 6.7. Cruise altitude 34. 340. Cost index 280. Takeoff flaps 5. Thrust 58. Center of gravity is 27. V speeds are in. Execute. Emergency lighting set to auto. Fuel pumps on. 0 in the center. Anti-ice. We're at 100. 50. Seatbelts to auto. Here are air going. Out. My apologies for resetting the FMC. Okay, our route today is going to be 25 Romeo through the Mocha 7. Delta. No transition. Arrival. Route leg 1. No, I don't want leg. Crap. Okay, Route 1. Destination EVGA. Just making up the flight number. Activate. Legs. Route. Arrival. Arrival 27 Romeo. Gonna be using the hotel. a little frustrating. Not too EV NAM. AGN. So these old systems, you can't enter a flight route. You have to enter, or an airway, you have to enter them manually. And right now there's just too many of them, so I'm just going through the direct routes. That way I can speed up this process. I forgot that little fact because I haven't flown this in a couple days. I've been all about the Tullus A321. And it's always different switching from a Boeing to a Airbus. Roxalg. And this is our last waypoint, so stick with me. So what happened to the rest of the information? Alright, this is really getting irritating. I may have fibbed a little bit. 10. Okay. Vietnam. And this is why I try to import my routes. Rev 2. This is probably the most tedious task of setting up a flight. Alright, let's check out our legs. Alright, so it looks like we're good to go. Let's go through the plan real quick. It's always good. looks like we can get rid of that. One right there. Or get rid of the one before it. That makes more sense. So let's we can just do that. And execute. So let's step through that one more time. And that looks a little bit better. Alright. Everything is set up for pushback. There we go. Right back to that. Let's go ahead. Transmitter set up. So standby. And let's request pushback. Finally, I know, right?
Ground to copy. Please, show me where you want to go.
Right there is probably good. And I would run normal traffic global with this, but with it only having 16 gigabytes of
Ground
RAM
to copy.
right now,
How are you driving up?
don't want to risk it. Okay. So everything is good to go. It's been a minute since I've flown this. I've been worried about the Airbus. So hopefully I get the processes down. And 25 right, so I need to figure out where that is because I can't memorize every airport. So pretty easy.
Okay,
We're going to back out,
hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
go down whatever taxiway this is, and enter 25 right. I guess we need to close everything up. Close all. And what engine do we want to fly with today? We got the Pratt & Whitney, the Rolls-Royce, or the
bypass being
GE.
inserted. Release parking brake. Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Let's go with the we'll stick with Pratt & Whitney's, the old smokers. Alright, packs off. Go ahead and turn this engine status page on. And we'll start with the right engine. Yeah, I don't know if Tolus has control of my sound right now. It does sound a little quiet. Let's see if that is the... Oh, no. I guess when you're not in it, it doesn't show. Options. Sound. There we go. have noticed with the Flight Factor 767,
Operation
it
complete.
seems a little quiet on the
Parking brake.
outside, but thank goodness it's not so overbearing like the A321 that I've been flying lately. Alright. Parking brake set.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Left engine rolling. Flight altitude is 34,000. See what the altimeter is. 3000. There we go. Go ahead and set that to the other so we don't get a disagreement. Alright, now that we got generator support from left and right engine, we'll go ahead and turn off the APU. Get that switch turned off.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Alright, take it easy. Thank you for pushing me back. I have to say, that is a nice livery. Alright. Go ahead and get packs on. APU bleed off. Alright, parking brake. So, set it RTO, not armed, flaps 5, looks like we are good to go. 148. Flight director is on. Auto throttle set. And let's go ahead and taxi. Taxi lights on. And nose gear. Set flaps to 5. I would stream in VR, but I just don't think my machine can support it while streaming. we're supposed to taxi about 15 miles per hour in this, 15 knots. And that's indicated in this lower right hand right here. And we don't need this flight status anymore. Go ahead and get a check, because failures do happen.
Approaching 20.
So we're basically right next to the runway we're about to take off on, which is good. Hey John, I don't know if you're following. Yes, this is the 767. Let's not try to slam on the brakes here. And let's do a final check before we pull onto the runway. Okay, flaps down, gear is good, flight plan is good, altitude, heading. So the only thing that I have trouble trying to figure out is this thrust. And 9 times out of 10 I have to disable the auto throttle. Alright. Arm LNAV, VNAV. And I'll switch over to autopilot when we get...
Approaching 25 right.
So...
On runway 25 right.
Alright. Let's bring up to 70%. And thrust. Yeah, for some reason it just doesn't work for me. I'm not sure why. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Thrust is coming up. And V1. We are airborne. Gear up. And flaps up. We are climbing like a rocket. Following the flight director. gaining speed. And let's switch over to autopilot. Well over 1,000. Flaps up. Off, and reach transition. We'll go over to standard. Let's get outside. Go ahead and back down that exterior sound a little bit, because we do have a little bit on this flight left, and I would like to get some type of music playing. That way we're just not sitting here and total silence. Of course I will talk if you really want me to, but neglecting some duties here, so let me go ahead and get lights off. Okay, we are looking good on all the info panels. So you're supposed to give them some safety demonstration, blah blah blah. Yeah, that's for losers.
Typical.
Ladies and gentlemen, our aircraft.
Man, they could have done better with the sound voice on
this. We
this.
would like to remind you that all flights of our
I love the
airline
flight
are
factor
non-smoking.
tablets. That is no
For
doubt.
your safety, the lavatories have been equipped with smoke detectors. Damaging or disconnecting the smoke detectors is strictly prohibited.
Man,
On the
I want to go
overhead
back to
panel, you will
Spain
find a
so
personal
bad.
lamp, air conditioning, and a flight attendant button.
There was a lot of
The
stuff
lavatory
that I
for the
did
business
not get to
class
see
passengers are
that I
located
really
at the front
wanted
of
to
the
see.
airplane, and for the economy class passengers,
But I got to go
in
to
the back and center of the
Alicante
airplane.
and
For your
Barcelona.
safety, when seated,
Fun places
we
to
recommend
go.
to keep your seat belts fastened, even when
Wish
the
I could go
fasten
back
seatbelt sign is
soon.
off.
But I will avoid all traveling if I can at the moment because of this issue that we're having worldwide. Speaking of drinks and snacks, it's time to pour me another one. Flight attendant, please make your way to the cockpit. I request a beer. So this is one of my saisons that I brewed. It is pretty good. It gets very spicy the warmer you let it get. Now that would be a thing. I have seen drunk captains before. Most of the time they're flying in the cabin. we have a pretty good departure out of here today. Basically, we'll make our way across Spain and then come up the backside, I believe, of London. Yeah, man, I love it not having to go to the store and have to think about what you want to purchase sometimes. It's nice, especially when you can't find something, and if you brew it, it's always there. Man, the things I know now about brewing that I wish I knew at 18. Look at that monster. Heck yeah, man. Message me privately and I'll try to get something in the books. Most of my time is tied up with my newborn, so, well, not newborn, but infant. He's going on 7 months now, so if I'm not working and if I'm not dealing with a child, I'm doing this. Are you the one from, I've talked to a couple people from this local area. Are you from Hampton or Yorktown? I'm just trying to remember. Or are you more up the Richmond way? Yorktown. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I've talked to a couple people that actually live in this area, and it's quite crazy who all you can run into online. I gotcha. Yeah, I don't travel up that way too often anymore. Not since I left the Fort Eustis base. About the only time I go up 95 now is either for work or visiting family up in like Loudoun County, Fairfax area. Does look like we got a little bit of a wind today. Man, I wish I knew how to get more inside views. Yeah, that's why I don't try to travel that tunnel. I used to, so I live in Chesapeake. I used to work at Langley for about a week, and the tunnel traffic wasn't that bad, but luckily I didn't have any bad instances crossing tunnel during that week period. Andre, thank you. So I'm only running on 16 gigs RAM right now, and I got a 1070 Ti hybrid. So that's what this is running off of right now. It gets a little laggy. I took out 16 gigabytes today of RAM because I'm trying to dwindle down what's causing my blue screens of death, and I have to say, ever since I removed this one pair that I haven't had any issues. Just a little bit of lag here and there. It looks like we may have hit our climb. Let me just double check here. Yeah. We are all over the place. But yes, looks like we have hit our climb. And we are basically in cruise mode, my friends. Let's just go through one check. And let me go ahead and get the ILS set up. No, I do not use Reshade. The only weather plugin I have is Ultra Weather XP. And I use their settings. I do not modify anything. So let me, like I said, let me get this ILS in, and then I'll keep answering questions. Traffic. Avitab, that's what I'm looking for. Duh. Let's close this out. We are not coming back to Barcelona for a minute. We are not in Frankfurt. Okay, so landing weather. Only a 6 knot. Which runway are we landing on? Let's see. Cannot remember. We're landing on 27. Wow, we almost got a 7 knot headwind. That is like perfect conditions. Shockingly. Rival. Roxog. We only need one of those. Let's go back up. Our approach is 27 right, ILS. We'll do the 2 ILS. So it looks like our decision height today is 50 feet. That is not much at all. Oh, that's a Cat 3. Cat 2 is 100, and that's more realistic. So that's the other barrier of trying to get into actual knowing the flight sim, is learning how to read charts. So it looks like we're going to capture localizer at 2500. We'll go ahead and set that now. It probably took me a good solid week to 2 weeks to learn how to read charts. And our ILS is 270 for 110, 3, and a course of 270. So ILS is set. Basically, thanks to Boeing, we just sit here until we start our approach. So with that being said, let's go back to the awesome exterior. And the views, my friends. Looks like we have a little bit of cloudiness over these mountains here. So if you're just joining, make sure you like or follow this stream. We are going to England, London Heathrow today. We just left Barcelona. And it looks like we're going to have a pretty quiet flight. We do have a little bit of wind going right now, but when we go to land, man, we couldn't have asked for better conditions. So how's everybody doing tonight? Drop me a comment, please. If you have any questions, let me know. This is my second flight of tonight. Of course, you saw I try to post all my flights in the X-Plane page. That way I get the most views and the entertainment to spread to you guys. Obviously, you want to watch it because you're here. If you have any questions about the 767, let me know. Also, I have been flying the new Tolus A321. If you have any questions about that, also let me know. The cool thing about the 767 is it comes with 3 different engines. And I don't think that's how it used to be. I think it was only one and done. And the most recent update, I think, came out in November, and that's why there's 2 more. Alright, let me see. I need a new music source. See what this place has to offer. Andre, I think I just want to make sure. I just wanted to thank you for your follow. get that turned down a little bit. So I really wish I could figure out how to set up different views for this. If you guys have never been in a 767, let's go ahead and I'll show you what the cockpit looks like. So you got the co-pilot, you got the pilot, you got 2 seats here. When you get into the cargo 767, it is like twice the size of this passenger cockpit. It's crazy. Man, that sun is bright today. Barely even see the livery. Must be that Star Alliance. I will have to say this this plane has very good texture work. The only thing that I think personally that could be a little bit updated is the textures of the cockpit. I think the textures can be touched just a tad bit, but I'm not a developer. My hat's off to the developer of this aircraft. It is one of the best ones that I own. If you have any Carenado products, don't even get me started on that. It up. There we go. Come on, focus in. Find me. There we go. So my recent add-on that I've got was a green screen, so that now you don't have to stare at an ugly background. Because I do not have a cool setup for gaming. I will have to say that I like how the Flight Factor products handle just a tad bit better than the Tolus. When it comes to the flying and the easiness, Tolus is a little more difficult, but when you're flying by hand though, I feel that the Tolus is easier to fly than a Boeing. I think tomorrow I'm going to break out the Honeycomb and I will do some more smaller aircraft flights. I owe some loving to the TBM. Yeah, so they're teaming up, I think, to do the rework of the Airbus systems that Flight Factor owns. And all I gotta say is, if it is satisfactory, and if Microsoft ain't out by the time with their product, then I might get another Flight Factor Airbus. I don't own any other Airbus besides the Tolus, but if they team up to update their product, I will get the other one. I will have to say, flying ILS with the 767 is a lot easier to get set up. The nice thing about a Airbus, though, everything's pretty much automatic when it comes to ILS. Remember to like this video if you want to see more like this. I promise I'll be a good host. Yeah, when I do these flybys, my machine is struggling to keep up. I think that's about the only bit of decreased performance that I've noticed is the lagginess between switching around scenes and stuff. That's where it pays off to have the 32 gigs. And man, I'd love to be in your position with that 2080 Ti. Which brand did you end up going with? I can't remember what you said. Dang, I may have enough time to do a third flight tonight. Oh, I got you. Yeah, that's understandable. Alienware is nice. I believe they're owned by Dell now. I haven't had an Alienware... Well, I've never had an Alienware, but I used to way back in the day when they came out with their XPS products. I think that's what basically XPS evolved into, was their Alienware. When they bought up Alienware, that is. I've definitely got to become a student again so I can write off my next computer. Because when I write off the next computer, that's when I'm going to have the big one. I will have to tell you, the only thing that I'm really excited about in Microsoft, and I don't really care about anything else, is the fact that you don't have to download scenery. Downloading scenery just to make your the simulator look nice is such a pain. I've literally spent all day trying to get new scenery. The struggles of a passion, I will tell you. I probably have about 2 terabytes SSDs full of scenery. And a bunch of other shit, I don't know. Yeah, I'm waiting patiently too, but you gotta take it with, I don't know. I'm not having my hopes too high, because honestly, with them, they just put out the news this week that they're scaling back operations due to, you know, trying to get back in a healthy state because possibly, well, the coronavirus issue, but maybe the dev team is so wore out. And I follow them on Twitter, so any news that comes out about what is the Flight Simulator 2020, you know, I get updates anytime that anything they put out. And they said they were scaling back operations due to, you know, they need to get back to a healthy state. So coming from an IT and a, you know, what is it called? I used to be part of a DevOps team, yeah. So I just wonder what type of health issues that they're talking about, like family health, mental health. You know, I don't know how hard they're driving these people. So that's why I'm not getting my hopes up too quick, because I know that they said that the next March update, I think, which is on the 14th, is going to be one that we want to pay attention to. And I wonder if they're going to hint at a timeline for release. Not mean to do that. Yeah, I don't know. I know they, with as far as they've come from a development standpoint, these people are rolling. Like, to be able to knock out individually 38,000 airports to manually put hands on each one of them. The mental stability, I couldn't even imagine. Like, each person has 1,000 airports they got to go through. You got a team of maybe 38 people on a, I don't know, double that. Shit, 500 airports. That would take months, probably, for each person to do that. So I could see where, you know, the burnout factor is there. I've seen it in my personal, professional life. You know, being a project manager for IT, and I get wore out on a weekly basis just having to deal with the people I have to deal with. No, I think Microsoft is out of Seattle. So I don't know where their development team is. I know we got Microsoft offices in both the upper Richmond area and up in the Arlington area, but I don't think that's where their development teams are. I think their development teams are more West Coast. If it is, I don't pay attention to it enough. I probably read that somewhere, to be honest, and I just lost track of it, the information. But yeah, if they're overseas, that makes sense that they're trying to scale back. I mean, I work with the government, and like everybody is freaking out about coronavirus right now. I mean, NASA just told all their employees to telework just to test out their, VPN capabilities. The Air Force just did the same thing. I know the Navy's doing the same thing. I mean, I work for the Department of the Navy, and like that's one of the biggest concern is like we need to make sure that we have enough capability that everybody can telework. So John, what aircraft are you thinking about getting, or are you holding out for possibly the Microsoft product? Why they put a headset here if you can't even use it. Yeah, I think I might get some Zebo action after this one. Because it's definitely... Well, I know it's not, you know, early enough, but... I get to sleep in tomorrow, so... I think I'm going to fly again after this. I gotcha. I do not recommend anything Coronado. If you need any advice, I am not happy with any Coronado products. Coronado, whatever you want to call them. Coronados somewhere in San Diego. But I have a couple of their products. Definitely not happy. I have the TBM 900, awesome aircraft. While we're looking at it, what else do I got? I'm going to pause the flight real quick. So I got the Zebos. And I actually got this 700 Zebo. Got the Tolus. 767, got the Beechcraft Baron, Aerobasque Robin, that's a little fun one to fly. The Coronado Citation, the Douglas C-47, the Airfoil Labs King Air 350, that's a fun one to fly. The Twin Otter, that's a good one to fly, I think. You get four different variations with the Twin Otter. I forget who it's developed by, but I would recommend that one. So TBM, the Twin Otter. The only thing that sucks about the Twin Otter is the floating. For some reason, X-Plane does not have good water dynamics, so it's very hard to get this one off the ground. Other than that, I don't really recommend anything else. The Hughes 500 is a good freeware one. I definitely recommend that one. The Bell 429, that's another good freeware one. Other than that, yeah, the Twin Otter, I don't know. Just go to the... Well, the TBM's definitely more expensive. You're probably looking at twice the cost of the Twin Otter. So it just depends what your price point is. But TBM's a very high fidelity one. You can't go wrong with that. It's an awesome aircraft. The Twin Otter is also pretty cool because if you need a short takeoff, the Twin Otter is definitely where you want to go. It is a VTOL. Or not VTOL, but a short takeoff and landing. STOL, I think it's called. If anything, I'd recommend just getting both of them. Honestly. If you have about $90 to blow, get both of them. The cool thing about the TBM though is if you know somebody else that has a TBM 900, you can basically share the airframe. So if you have a team of people on your virtual airline, basically you can park it one day and then the other guy can link to it and use it so he can put hours on it as well. That way the maintenance and everything keeps going up on it. That way you get a true cost of what it is to own a TBM. When it comes to like other out-of-the-box features, the TBM is definitely the way to go, because you definitely get what you pay for, but you do pay a pretty price. Not really. Just because I'm kind of new to the concept. You know, I only learned about doing virtual airlines like a couple weeks ago. I've been doing flight sims for years. But when you go online, you start doing research, and then you start watching, you know, streaming channels, you hear all this talk and stuff. It's just like, well, damn, I didn't even know about this. I've been invited to do a virtual airline, and I've, you know, because I've started this channel and everything, I have been invited to certain groups. I've yet to attend yet, just because, quite honestly, you know, I don't have the time to put towards being part of a group right now. You know, I'm trying to get my streaming channel going, and then, you know, I'll participate later on, pretty much. I just don't have the time to be a part of a virtual airline right now. It sounds like there's, you know, it doesn't sound like it's much work to it or anything like that, or, you know, you have to keep certain stats, but just the simple fact that it's tacking something else onto my flying experience, I just don't have the time for it. Alright folks, if you're watching, I will be right back. Alright, welcome back. Looks like we have reached the other coast now of the... I think we're over France, possibly. Let's take a look. This is one thing I like about the Avitab, is that you get to look at a map. Rochelle. A little bit past Bordeaux. Alright. So I have noticed one thing. When I took out the extra RAM today, my frames per second has definitely dropped from around 50 frames per second down to averaging 25 to 30. Oh, that's fresh. So I brewed this Saison back in, I think it was done around Christmas. And I want to say it's been bottling condition for about 3 months now. And I will say that it is a pretty damn good beer. So you're looking at the French coast there, if you're just joining the stream. Wonder if my... I've literally had Ortho for XP running since probably noon today, and it is still not finished. That is the one and only downfall of Ortho for XP, is the amount of time it takes. Let's go ahead and check out, see how long I have left until we start our descent. We can, of course, see that on our progress page. Top of descent, 193 nautical miles. That'll be here a lot sooner than you think. Man, I wish I was a real pilot. I feel like I'd be pretty good at it. Wonder if we can see England yet. No, not yet. Doesn't look like we're going to encounter too much weather either. That's a good thing. I noticed night flights aren't too popular. I love doing night flights, but it just, you can't see anything outside the airplane. I didn't even notice that reflection detail there until I just did this view. I will have to say they've done their reflection details. Especially when it comes to nighttime and flying this, man, it has a great reflection inside the cockpit when it comes to lights and stuff. I really want to get the FlyJSim 727, and I wanted to grab it at the sale that they just had probably about a month or two ago, but I did not move on it. What are you doing? Getting into trouble? So this is a little bit of a long flight. I'm not gonna lie. It's one out of the ordinary. I don't try to do flights this long. I try to keep it under an hour and a half, 2 hours. But, now I can say I've done it. I did take the 767 when I first got it, way before I started streaming, and I flew from Atlanta over to Frankfurt, and I think it was, I don't know, 8 or 9 hours. I basically left my computer on running, and I had to go do other shit. I wish they would clean up the edges a little bit around the windows. It just looks a little too fake-ish. And you can definitely tell with the newer airplanes that I have, they definitely try to mesh this a little bit better. So if you're joining the channel, we're about to get to England. Not too much longer. Let's see how long we have until top of descent. Still got a little bit of a distance. Man, I really want to try the FlyJSim 727. For some reason it just looks so cool to me. Even though it looks like a pain in the ass to fly. welcome back. Johnny, welcome. I was wondering when you'd kick it on. So we're flying from Barcelona to London Heathrow today. Let's see. 49 miles, top of descent. Well, I'll be damned. Kids keeping you busy, huh? Yeah, I think I could agree with that. But singular, not plural. Thank God, I have not reached that stage yet. Appreciate it. Yeah, I wasn't sure about changing it at first, but then I kept thinking about it. I was like, you know, the name I chose, it was really to start out with. And that's because it was something, the same name I've had for over like 10 plus years now for different various things. And it's just like, yeah, I really don't sound captivating as CM Sorry, so that's why I changed it to IT Fly Guy, because I fly sims and I'm an IT guy. Go figure. Friday night, man. I'm about to wrap up this flight over in England, and I think I'm going to do another one. This is my second flight so far this evening. I did put out a video earlier on a like a startup sequence for the Airbus that I've been flying, but yeah, it's Friday night, man. I'm ready to live it up on flight sim stuff. Ugh. It's sad when you get old and you look forward to flight simming on a stream. Oh God. What stage have I reached in my life? Yeah, I hear you on that. So when Xbox Live first came out, I'm talking like the first Xbox Live, I had a very popular gamer tag, and it was very well known through the games when I got on ages ago. But it's just like, man, I wish I would have kept up with that and not let it go like years and years ago. Because I guarantee if I was like on Twitch or something back in the day, man, I'd be famous right now. I'm not even gonna lie. Twitch wasn't even around when I was gaming on Xbox Live. That's that day and age. I'm talking like 2000 time frame when the first Xbox came out, first Halo came out, first Xbox Live was brand new at the time. It's just like, holy shit, am I really this old? Kids just don't even know this these days anymore. Looks like we got some clouds rolling in. Let me just check weather coming into London here. Only got 16 nautical miles before we hit our descent, so we're getting there. Michael, what's going on, man? Let's see. What am I doing? Airports. No, I'm not worried about that. Just want to check weather one more time. So winds from 280, 06 knots. Literally no wind at all. That's awesome. I'm gonna well, not now. 1040. Or no, 1014. Okay. So if you just started following, we are about to descend into the London Heathrow area. We are going to land this thing, my friends. And I think we're going to land it pretty good. I landed the Tolus earlier this evening, and that was like butter. Go back and watch that video. I don't think you could have asked for a better landing from a passenger point of view. Do we got bets going on for the Heathrow landing? I want to say that this is my first flight since flying the A21 in a couple days now. I think it's going to have to take some time to readjust it. Yeah, man, that's why I post them. You can always catch up when you need to. You missed that last flight, man. It was an awesome flight. I'm not even gonna lie. So other exciting news is I'm almost to 100 followers. Who would have saw that for a week and a half of streaming? Thank you, everybody who is following me right now. Did I say week and a half? Almost about 2 weeks. If you probably looked at my stream or my Steam account right now, I probably got about 400 to 450 flight hours inside of X-Plane. Man, I wish I would have applied that to streaming. So we do have a descent rate of 1,500 feet per minute. That's a decent descent rate. Let's see. Let's look at the FMC. We do have an arrival time of 16:49 Zulu. Let's look at our clock. So in about 15-ish minutes, depending on how fast we descent into this. I haven't got any warnings to slow down or anything. Our transition is at, I believe, 6,000, so we may have a speed restriction at 10,000 feet. I'll do a barrel roll when I hit 100 followers. And then we got to vote on which aircraft to do a barrel roll in. I know Boeing's can do it. I've seen enough videos of them doing it. I think Boeing's have been doing barrel rolls since like the late 70s, early 80s. When the first 737s and stuff came out. I think I can do that. It's worth a new airframe. Honestly, I don't think I've ever heard of a TBM doing a barrel roll, so it'll be worth the viewing, I guess. I just don't know how the plane is programmed, so I don't know if it's going to, you know, damage the airframe or not. It's worth starting over. Let's see, let's check out our legs here. We are heading to the Rocksag. We're descending pretty fast too, so looks like we're on path to descend here. ILS is already set. I do not have my checklist with me, so I'm just going to have to go through memory pretty much. But compared to the Tolus, this is a pretty simplistic aircraft. It's got a lot more buttons than computer, you know, keying, pretty much. The Tolus, or the Airbus in general, is more automatic, but you definitely got to input a lot more information, I feel. This, you can look at the all digital analog gauges and pretty much get a gist of what's happening with the aircraft. So just hit, we're about to hit flight level 25, descending into London Heathrow. And if anybody knows how to get custom views from outside of the windows, let me know, please. Because I find it the hardest time to try to maneuver around in this aircraft to get custom views. Looks like we do have some clouds coming into England today. Do I say England or do I say UK? I don't know. I'm saying it from a Yankee perspective. Or a Yank, whatever you guys call us. Pretty much the engines have gone to a complete halt. N1 is at about 50%, so that's pretty good. You know what? Yeah, me too. I'll call it whatever I want to call it, pretty much. It's the joy of Independence Day. Heh. I think I made some people mad because the viewers just dropped by like 5 when I said that. You know what? I don't even care. All right. Slowly getting better at editing videos. So if you see some crappy videos on YouTube or Facebook, that's my amateur editing. God, I hate speech impediments. Yes, I finally got it in one of my streams. It looks like we have crossed, or yeah, we're about to cross the English border, my friends. You know, Johnny, I still haven't even figured out the thrust thing with this. You know, I watch video upon video on trying to learn and even reading manuals, and it still doesn't function properly, I don't think. I don't think it functions properly for the takeoff sequence. I don't know why. Yeah, me too. Stop making myself look stupid trying to figure it out. Let's see, where are we at? Alright, so we are on our arrival path. It looks like we are pretty much almost spot on. Looks like our next waypoint, we will be at flight level 13 or 13,000 who don't understand what flight level means. Next waypoint is Hazel. And it looks like we have a speed limitation of 250 knots below 10,000. That's pretty much standard. Let me go ahead and close that out. Wow, even in the clouds, I'm getting about 40 frame rates per second. That is amazing for, you know, especially removing 16 gigabytes of RAM today just to test out what 16 gigabytes can do. That's probably the highest FPS that I've had flying, and I don't understand why. We're pretty much coming into a full cloud approach until we get down lower, my friends. I want to fly into somewhere that's having a major storm right now. I might check the weather, and that might be the next flight I do. I'm not sure, though. Next waypoint, we're supposed to be at 9,400 feet. So the cool thing about the Airbuses is when you approach 10,000 feet, it pretty much slowed down by leveling out before you hit the next waypoint. It would bleed speed and then continue the descent afterwards. That was probably the coolest thing that I realized about the Airbuses. And I think that's pretty much standard between all Airbuses. Alright, so we're through the clouds, and it looks like we have a decent landing. So we're approaching 10,000. I know transition's around 6, but I'm going to go ahead, turn on landing. Lights, get everything prepared. And let's go ahead and check our time. We are pretty close, so let me go ahead and get this music turned down because I don't need any distractions right now. Alright, we're still at idle, and we need some drag. The FMC says, help me, give me some drag. Alright, let's see how far out we are. We're pretty close. Let me go ahead and set VREF. Let's go flaps 30. Oh, looks like we're overdoing flaps a little bit. Why? Let's go up. Alright, let me delete that information. There we go. Input it, that in there. We have our VREF. We have our decision height. Progress. Where is our... Okay. Somewhere to our left, that is... Yes, that is the spoilers on the wings. We are pretty much at idle right now. We are about to land in London Heathrow, the busiest airport in the world besides Atlanta and possibly San Francisco. So we just touched 8,000 feet. And let's go ahead and get our speed brake set. We're not going to go max, we're just going to go level 3. Drag required. Let's go ahead and get that pulled back. And we are descending for our first set of flaps. So let's go ahead and get that set out there. Speed brake up. Flaps 5. Engine's almost damn near idle. Look at that scenery. I am kind of impressed. Just wish it had a little more detail. What is our landing speed today? We will be landing at 134 knots. Pretty much crawling, my friends. So we are on our path to the final turn towards London Heathrow. When we make our turn, I will arm the approach. That's pretty cool there. I wonder what that is. Is that a neighborhood right there? That Star Wars looking thing? If you know what it is and you live in that area, please let me know. Alright, lights on, flaps at 5. We're approaching our turn. We're at 4,900 feet. Let's go ahead and adjust. appropriately. 1014, I believe that is correct. Let me double check. Yep, 1014. Let's set it to the other as well. Okay. Our decision height for today is 100 feet. That is kind of low. But we have pretty much VFR conditions. Bleeding off a little bit of speed here. And once we get a little bit slower, I will go ahead and release the next stage of flaps. And looks like we need flaps 20. And it looks like weather did change, so we got a little bit of haze coming in. So this is IFR conditions. I correct myself, it is not VFR, because the weather just updated on us. And we are turning for final. Let me arm the approach. When you arm the approach, all 3 GPSs turn on, because if one fails, the next one will take its place. We are turning for final, my friends. Gear down. Auto brakes set. Flaps down to 20. When we get down to 2,000 feet, flaps will go to 30. Oops. VREF is 134. I'm just going to set to 139 in case there is a random gust. So we made the turn for a final. We're about to reach 2,000 when we intercept the glide slope. There we go. And it looks like we're gonna make a go around. We didn't intercept in time. So the flight plan strikes again, my friends. It's okay because it is an easy fix. So let's perform a go around and try again. So that's the Airbus coming out. So when you're in the Airbus, it does not require you to set it all the way down to your landing altitude. I'm pretty much turning back downwind. And we will make a left turn towards base in just a moment when I can get far enough away. That way we can make a safe approach. When we get about 5 nautical miles away, I'll go ahead and turn left towards final. We do have a decision height of 100 feet, which we are in. Let's go ahead and turn. I'm going to have to go back through an after action review and see why I didn't intercept the approach.
Glide slope, 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 glide slope. Glide slope, 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 glide slope.
Approaching 27 right.
Glide slope, 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 glide slope.
All right.
Glide slope, 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 glide slope.
We definitely got some hazy conditions here. Trying to correct for the
Minimum. Glide slope.
$50, $40, $30, $20, $10,
Long landing. 9,000 feet remaining.
Don't sink.
Alright, that was not the most opportune landing, but it did happen. Definitely floated a little bit there. Definitely need to see why it did not descent how I wanted to. And like I said, I'm probably just used to the Airbus now. I just did something wrong. User error. Anyways, let's go through the oof video. For some reason my reversers didn't come out like I wanted it to, so that's why there was a delay in the slowdown procedure. See what we have to say here. Floaties. So here I thought the reversers were on. I realize it. Try to set it back down. And then get the reversers to actually come on this time. Thank goodness London has long runways. Or else that would have been another go around. So not too bad. Could have been worse. Not my favorite. But lessons are learned, my friends. And welcome to London. Let's go ahead and park our plane real quick. Do not know why that was rolling backwards. Let's go ahead and turn off flight directors, auto throttle. Get our plane in a style. rockets off, taxis on. Let's go ahead and get the APU going. Flaps up. Spoilers up. And we'll just take this for a stall over here. London Heathrow, my friends. London Heathrow. I went to London Heathrow the first time in my life about 2 years ago. It was an interesting airport. They like to get into your business. And park. APU gen is on and fuel off. Well, thank you, friends, for joining me in that flight. And make sure you watch the other ones. Definitely had a fun night tonight. That last landing was butter. This one, not so much. But, hey, that's all we can do is just enjoy the flight. Go ahead and like and follow the stream if you want. See more stuff like this. I said I was going to do another flight tonight, but I think I'm just going to call it a night. It is midnight, and I am looking forward to possibly sleeping in tomorrow. Passengers probably are not happy right now. Just turned everything off. Appreciate everybody stopping by. I will be back on tomorrow, so please make sure you follow or like this stream so that way you know when I'm back on. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. It was an awesome time flying the